And 2 months after his dramatic arrival in Libya's capital, Fayez el-Sarraj's unity government has won the international support but had little impact inside a divided country plagued by jihadists. And to give more insight on this, an African affairs analyst, Oluwaseyi Adeyemo, joins us now on TVC News Hour. Many thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Now, what's your assessment of the government of national unity in Libya? Do you think it can be successful?
The prayer all over the world is that it should be successful because it's unfortunate that 5 years after the ouster of and death of Muammar Gaddafi, we still have militant groups running the country, militias, Islamic groups and all of that. I think it's unfortunate. For the sake of the people of Africa, there's a lot of business to be done, government business. There's a lot of renovation. There's a lot of getting back people to the way they were living. So there's a lot of work to be done. And yes, they've always had the support of the international community all of this while. So we're just trusting that all of these militias will allow this to work finally.
But so far, why has it been so difficult for him to gain their trust, even though he enjoys so much support from outside?
Because you see, when people start, when anybody gets the opportunity to occupy a space, it's always very difficult to collect back the space from that person because for whatever it's worth, some of those people now have their own small enclaves and empires. And so it's really, really difficult. And it's unfortunate, but I will want to point out the fact that I think the government of Muammar Gaddafi was too strong. And those are the kind of things we need to run away from in Africa. You know, when you have an individual having such an influence, you know, such that 5 years after his death, his name is still written all over the place. So I pray that going forward, we'll have more stronger frameworks and organizations, you know, stronger than individuals, because obviously there's a finger of Muammar Gaddafi in all of this.
Well, we understand the GNA has been confined to the naval bases. How on earth is someone like that, or a group GNA, how do they take control of the country if right now they're confined to the naval base?
We should celebrate the fact that at least they're in Tripoli. They're here. It's been since December 2015 that the treaty was signed, agreement was made, and it took up them until March before they could come into Tripoli. And they didn't even come through the air. They had to come through the sea because it was difficult for them. The air was not cleared. So they're here. And for me, it's a progress. And we should celebrate the fact that they're on ground and they've not been chased out. And there are indications that if there's a need and a demand for, there'll be groups and troops that will be sent in. Italy, for instance, had promised that it will send in 5,000 troops in, you know, for support so that they can fully take over. So for me, it's a progress that we need to celebrate, because the problem for me, or the trust, is the people of Africa. It is not about any individual or group. It is about the fact that if you don't have a unity government, you cannot get the actual dividends that the people ought to get.
So now we are seeing the forces loyal to the UN-backed government now are going to storm Sirte now, which is the IS stronghold. But what are your fears? What are your expectations, you know, as these troops now, you know, go on, since it appears that the IS group is already, you know, embedded there?
I want to play on the fact that legitimacy and illegitimacy are always, the legitimacy is always stronger than the one that is not legitimate. So yes, they've been on ground, they've entrenched themselves, they've sort of grown strongholds, but I'm trusting that because this one is backed by the fact that they're the legitimate and recognized one, and they have the backings of the world, as it were, because the world is saying, look, there's a need for a change. Whatever wrongs, whatever sins, let's forgive all and move forward so that we can start to have the proper development of the country. So I'm trusting that all of that strength and all of that legitimacy will help them to take over completely.
Well, talking about legitimacy and otherwise, the rival government has refused to cede power, you know, and they say until a vote of confidence is actually passed. What do you think is delaying this vote of confidence?
I hate to repeat myself, but I say to you, it is just a function of the fact that some people are benefiting from the arrangement as it is. Yes, they've had to include. I mean, for me, unity government means a lot of inclusion.
Yeah.
They've had to have people from several groups, participate.
And the rebel groups as well.
As well, So long and short of the story is some people are benefiting from the way it is right now. And usually when you give a ring into the hands, it's always very difficult to take the rings out of the hands of the person who is holding onto it. So there's a need for a fight. This fight must go on so that we can get the result so that African people can start to benefit. All right,
Oluwaseyi Adeyemo, we're not done yet. TVC News Hour continues after this break. Stay with us.